Picture this, it's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. You have not started dinner. You don't even know what you're making for dinner. There's a mountain of laundry on the couch right there. You forgot to call the dentist again because you have a sore tooth and you have been putting it off for 6 weeks because you hate making phone calls and your phone is buzzing with work emails. Your kids are asking you what's for dinner and you're like, I still don't know. And you're standing in your kitchen wondering how you got behind in your own life. Now, welcome to my home in the forest. Get cozy, grab your tea, and let's go. So let me paint you a picture of my life before I figured this out. And I mean, I'm still a work in progress, so no judgment from me because there's still stuff going on. Now, one of the things I realized is keeping up with the house, and my house is still messy. We still live here, we're still doing all of the things, but it was a really big challenge before. It was like trying to play a game of whack-a-mole or something. I would finally get the kitchen clean, and then somebody would come along and start putting dishes next to the sink and not in the sink, and I was just like, ugh. And then finding the time to do all of that was a challenge, especially laundry. And a lot of you know I hate the folding part of laundry. The washing part, fine, as long as I remember to put it in the dryer. Another big problem that I struggled with big time, and I am much better at this now, is meal planning. Meal planning used to be such a big problem for me, and so many times did we end up having breakfast for dinner, which is not a terrible thing, but it's maybe not the best thing when that breakfast is cereal. I literally would open up the fridge and be like, what in here can we eat? And then I would go to the produce drawers and be like, oh my gosh, who knew that rotten spinach would smell so bad? When did I clean this fridge last? Was it even this year? And my time management was a total joke. I would start my day with grand plans. I would think I was going to get that decluttering I wanted to get done. Of course, dinner would fall into place. It was like every day I thought there was just so much time to get stuff done. But in the end, I feel like I got nothing done. I still didn't get any of that laundry folded. I was trying to work on client work, and that would take up the whole day. I would feel like just when I was getting ahead in one area, I was falling behind in another, and it just made me feel like such a failure, and it made me cranky with the family, it made the family cranky with me, and my work-life balance was such a terrible non-balance. It was just like answering emails at the table, it was answering texts while hanging out with the family. It was staying up at 2 a.m. worried that I either wasn't getting things done for clients or that I was not spending the time with the kids that I should have, and that they were growing up too fast and it was all my fault, and I was just the worst at balancing everything. So I did what any overwhelmed person does. I went down a productivity rabbit hole. I tried apps, I tried systems, I tried color coding, everything. I tried sticker charts for the kids. My phone became a graveyard of productivity apps that I would use for about 3 days. But here's what I discovered. The problem was not that I needed more and more things to manage it. The problem was that I had too many things to manage it. Too many systems, if you will. My brain was scattered all over the place and I just could not focus. I found myself daydreaming about living in the 1800s before I realized how bad the hygiene was back then. I really like living in a world where there is deodorant. And I also was spending so much mental energy managing my organization methods than actually getting organized. And that is when I realized I just needed one system, one place where everything lived. Now, you've heard me talk about, well, maybe you've heard me talk about how I keep my Christmas organized. It's winter, I put on a nice cozy background here, and I wish it was snowy here, but it just rains here on Vancouver Island. But anyway, I realized at that time I just needed a system, a way to organize things. And it was the exact same thing with my life. I needed one place where everything lived, one method that could handle work deadlines, dentist appointments, pets, how to keep track of everything, cleaning schedules, and I found it. Actually, I created it by combining two incredible tools that work together like peanut butter and jelly. Let's warm up by the fire while I explain a little bit about my system, and then I'll get into some finer details. So it's a bit of a hybrid system, and you may have heard me talk about it before, but I'm going to tell you how you can kind of customize it to yourself a bit. So I use a planner, and I put these adorable Wonderful. Cross is on here and it drives my cat Crumpet crazy. He's coming to look for it right now. And I use my phone. I'm going to explain it all to you. But the biggest thing is having, you can use a wall calendar. You don't have to use a phone for anything. You could use a pad of paper. My friend Lindsay, who I've told you about, she uses a pad of paper. So I'm going to get into how I use these things together, and I will tell you which planners I love the most, and let's get into it. So the first part of this system is to do a sort of brain dump. So you can do that anywhere you want. I actually use my phone or my computer. He's so funny. I'm gonna shoot a video of him standing up here while I film this so you can see him. Look at him. And he is after these. No. It's blasphemy. No, you stay there. I love you. You're the best. Okay, anyway. So if you just write everything out on a big list, a list that you can refer back to all of the time, that is such a great way to start. You don't actually need to do this in the long term, but you could just make a big old list anywhere, a pad of paper in your planner. Like I do actually have sections in this planner where I can make a big list. Same with my old planner. I'm going to tell you which ones I love, and it's hard to be away from the other one, but I like the new one too. So if you just do everything, just having one main place that is a source of truth can be such a game changer. So then what you can do is anything that has needs an appointment or something, you go ahead and put it in your calendar, whether it's your wall calendar, whether it is your phone calendar. That's where I keep appointments. I find it's easier to keep appointments on my phone calendar because then it can send me reminders, because if there's any household in the world that is forgetful, it's my household. Or you can just put it, if you have a planner that has like a calendar in there, do it that way. So that is the first part of the system, is getting your list of things and then plopping them into the calendar. Next, I like to start planning out week by week. So currently, this is the planner I am using. So I have my master list of things that need to be done, and I can go ahead and just plop what needs to be on each day when it needs to be on each day. And I'm trying to think about things that, if I can find something that does not have personal client details on here. I don't, but you can just put down, like say you want, like whether it's work, you can write down the priorities for work each day. You can write down the priorities for home. That's what I will do. I will write down what I want to have for dinner, and I will get into meal planning in a minute, but I like to put down what is for dinner on each day. I put down any main chores that happen each day. So say you want to get your garage decluttered and you know that spending 15 minutes a day is a great way to make it happen, you go ahead and plop that down. Any work things, go ahead and plop that down. Now, if you're struggling with remembering things, that is when you can go ahead and put it in your phone. You can put reminders. In fact, on one of our recent Tidy Mighty Club calls, which is my membership, a lovely lady joined us for the first time, and she told us about the multi-timer app, which is really, really cool. And that is a way you can have timers for, you know, your upcoming trip to Disneyland or what ever. Let's get back by the cozy fire. I was getting so cold over there. So here's how I manage my recipes. Now, I do like to use an app for something like that, but we are talking about how to keep things in sort of like one or two places that work really well together. So if you just want to include your master list in your planner, and again, I'll show you like where I would keep that in my planners, that would work well too. I personally really like using an app. This is not sponsored, although they have sponsored me before, but they're wonderful. And I like the Plan to Eat app. My camera really wants to focus on this delicious fireplace here. But what I do is, you need a place to save recipes if you are a recipe collector. Some people, they're not recipe collectors, and if you're not, don't worry, I have got you. But I use this app. I just go ahead, store my recipes in here. I will take pictures of recipes from my cookbook and put it in this app. I will also save from internet links, blogs, Pinterest, whatever. Go ahead and put it in here. And then I can just decide what days it's going to be. It's just a good way to organize things, and I think that's what a lot of people need. Another thing you can do is just create a bookmark in your computer or in your phone. Just you have one place where you can put all things. Now, if you don't like cooking, this is for one of my very dear friends who hates cooking. What you can do is just go ahead and start looking for simple meals that you like. Create an easy list of meals that you like, and you can just put it on rotation. There are times when I'll make something and my husband will be like, this is a once a week, or this is an every 2 week, or literally do that. When you are working on your planner, just rotate through the meals. You can do Taco Tuesday, you could do like Meatless Monday or whatever you want. Just start working through it. But the main thing is that you're keeping track of the idea, because if you, and also when you're doing your grocery shopping, you can go ahead, look at your recipe, how you want it to be, buy your shopping ingredients, and then when you go to cook, you're just referring back to your planner to see what recipe you're making, what meal, whether it's like just spaghetti or whatever. That makes it so much easier. So I'll do that, and then I will have it in my phone, or sometimes I'll just look at my phone, but ultimately my planner is like my source of truth. Okay, let's talk different planners. So there are so many you can get. I'm going to show you this beautiful one, and then I will show you some more affordable options, but this is from a wonderful company called Paper Republic, and they have different sizes. Like there's smaller, there's this size, there's larger. It's absolutely gorgeous. And no, again, this is not sponsored, but there is a link that they provided so I could show this to you. So in here, how it works is there are these different books, and there are these elastic bands that hold the books in place. It's super easy just to pop it out like this. Like there's my little book, I can take it with me. And then there's the little rubber band there, and then there's other books here. So you can totally customize it. I'm just gonna pop this back in here. My poor husband, I just like banish him. So what I like is, and you, again, like there are people, they do, like they have like books for art and things like that, but I have like these other little books in here. I put this one in here for just like creating lists of things in my business. So I have a business book. I have another book here, sort of like a prayer book where I write things down, verses that I love. And then I put a fourth book in here. I just put it in, so I haven't actually decided what to do with it yet, but you don't actually need it. And this is kind of like the cool look that it has from the side. And it's so, I just love it. I love that it's leather. I love that it is just so customizable. I can have different books for different things. If I wanted to, I could take them out. Plus, I don't need to replace it every year. I just can replace the books every year, which is really fun. And I got the, again, like I showed you, this is the dated one. So there's so many different styles, but this is just sort of like the, I think it's called weekly, but then there's like daily, really thick ones or whatever. And I can just like put down what I'm working on for the day. And I love, as you know, I love to make myself a very manageable to-do list, because I used to be so bad with like the massive to-do list. Like if I found one of my old planners, you would see there'd be like 30 things on there, because I do love like checking things off, but I don't love feeling overwhelmed. And unfortunately, that's what was happening. So instead, I like to pick like the main priorities, right? Like my main priority for work, my main priority for home. Yeah, so that is what keeps that organized. And let me show you the other one. So this one is Paper Republic, little bore, high end. It does come from Europe, but it's just, it's something that will last forever, and it's less wasteful. So let's get to the other one. Now this book, a lot of you have heard me talk about over the years, and this is the planner. This is the cover I had on it for the last bit before I switched to my new one, and it is a little bit hard for me to say goodbye to my plum planner. I have many different covers. I would switch it out. I do like variety. I really like variety. But But like every year I was having to buy this planner, which I love. However, I just love like all the little books in the other one. I might switch back. And the good news is like, there's no problem. I can take a year off of that one. So let me show you. Remember I told you before, like I would just create like a list of things I wanted to do. That's what you can do here. This one, you can customize it in many, many ways. Again, this is not sponsored, but I do have a link for these guys below. And I think there's probably sales on both of these given the time of year it is. But this is what it looked like last year. So I like the kind that goes down like this, and it's all like declutter, sending clips for somebody like based on things. So what I do is I take my master list that I showed you, and then I just plunk things in. Some people say you can just go section by section, but I love the idea of having like a master list and then crossing things off. And again, on here, I put little squares next to things that need to be checked off. And for this one, you can customize like the beautiful tabs, the color of the tabs for each month. And of course, like the cover design, I have a blog, so I have like the blog post schedule. I was really bad at using that though. So instead I would organize that in a Notion template, but that's more of a businessy thing. But if you really wanted to, you could just have it all in here. And that's the same with my other one. I could have like a book just for that. And that kind of was my idea. I just haven't gotten on board with that. Although I haven't actually written any blog posts in months and months and months. So this is the beautiful Plum Planner. And then there's the Paper Republic. There are so many planners available online though, like on Amazon or whatever. Like you don't have to go with any of these. They maybe will cost a little bit more. They are more customizable. I think the biggest thing though is to realize that the reason why so many of us are disorganized in life overall is because we don't have a big picture. And that is what having a planner or a really good list helps you do. My friend Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, she literally just uses her notes app and has everything scheduled in one document. She just moves things around. That is a great way to make it happen. In our Tidy Mighty Club call the other day, somebody was like, I just keep forgetting. That is when the timers are helpful. Post-it notes can work if you don't want to use a phone. You can make it work so well for you as long as you just find a way to write things down and to remember it. So for me, I won't forget things because they're in my planner. I did show up for my mammogram a day early, but that was just because I put it in my phone wrong. But that's okay. But yeah, so as long as you have a way to keep track, to remind yourself, and to almost like reward yourself, maybe even like, I love the tick. I love the tick. You will never see me not tick a tick. I will tick it all. I think you're gonna love this video. This video is going to help you feel like you have more control as well. I hope something great happens for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.